I've never met another human being who had that aura, who had that charisma, the same as Princess Diana.
So, here's something you need to know. For years, Prince William's concerns about Meghan Markle were dismissed by many as little more than family tension behind palace walls. But everything changed when Princess Diana's former bodyguard finally broke his silence. His unexpected remarks reignited one of the monarchy's most controversial debates, leaving royal watchers questioning whether William had seen warning signs long before anyone else. Was this simply one man's opinion? Or did it reveal a truth that had been overlooked for years? What emerged has sparked fresh questions the royal family can no longer easily ignore. But how did Diana's former bodyguard shut Meghan down? What was William's position that the former bodyguard just proved wrong? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. To help us create more videos and uncover the latest royal drama, please subscribe. The man who knew everything. So, here's what makes this story so different from the usual royal headlines. Every now and then, someone speaks out about the royal family, but very few people have actually lived behind those palace walls, witnessed history as it happened, and carried secrets that could change the way the world sees the monarchy. Paul Burrell is one of those rare people. For an entire decade, Burrell worked at the very heart of Kensington Palace as Princess Diana's trusted butler and closest confidant. He wasn't simply an employee carrying out royal duties. Diana reportedly leaned on him during some of the most difficult years of her life, even calling him "my rock." He saw the side of the people's princess that cameras never captured. When the photographers disappeared and the palace doors closed, Burrell remained. He witnessed the tears that flowed when the pressure became unbearable. He saw the loneliness that no amount of royal luxury could erase. And in the rare moments when Diana found happiness, he was there for those too. He also watched from only a few steps away as Diana's marriage to the then Prince Charles slowly fell apart. While the public saw carefully managed appearances and polite smiles, Burrell reportedly witnessed the heartbreak unfolding behind closed doors. He saw how deeply the emotional strain affected her and how difficult it became to carry the weight of royal life while feeling increasingly isolated. But perhaps no memory has stayed with him more than the heartbreaking days that followed Diana's tragic death in 1997, when 12-year-old Prince Harry returned home after saying his final goodbye to his mother. The young prince was completely devastated. According to Burrell, Harry wasn't thinking about royal traditions, public expectations, or the cameras following his every move. He was simply a grieving little boy who had lost the person he loved most. Burrell has recalled that Harry ran straight into his arms, overcome with sorrow. It was a deeply personal moment that has remained with him ever since, and one he has never forgotten. That single memory gives Burrell a perspective that very few people can claim. He isn't someone commenting from the outside or repeating stories he has heard from others. He lived alongside the family during some of its darkest chapters. He witnessed their private struggles, shared their most painful moments, and earned a level of trust that few palace staff members ever experienced. That's exactly why people listen when Paul Burrell decides to speak today. In television interviews and in his 2025 memoir, The Royal Insider, he has made a series of striking comments about Meghan Markle and her place within the royal family. These aren't presented as rumors passed around palace corridors. They come from a man who once comforted a heartbroken young prince, stood beside Princess Diana through years of personal pain, and claims to understand the royal family from a perspective that very few people ever will. But what was the shocking statement that the former bodyguard made about Meghan? What informed his perspective of Meghan? Let's find out. Burrell's explosive Meghan claim stuns everyone. So, here's where things take a surprising turn. As headlines swirled about the reported breakdown of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's friendship with David and Victoria Beckham, one royal insider chose words that immediately grabbed everyone's attention. Speaking during a television interview, Paul Burrell didn't hesitate. He looked directly at the camera and used a description so unexpected that it reportedly left the presenter momentarily speechless. He called Meghan Markle a predator. It wasn't a word he appeared to use casually. He could have described her as ambitious, strategic, or even overly determined. Instead, he reached for a far stronger label, one that instantly sparked debate among royal watchers. Burrell wasn't simply criticizing Meghan's personality. He was claiming to see a repeated pattern in the way she forms and, according to him, eventually leaves behind important relationships. According to Paul Burrell, Meghan often forms close friendships with influential and well-connected people, creating relationships that initially appear warm and sincere. However, he believes those connections tend to fade once they have, in his view, helped expand her social circle, improve her public image, or open new opportunities. Burrell summed up his opinion with the controversial claim that she sucks them dry and then they'll be gone.
As she's found out, she didn't realize she had to curtsy to the Queen when she met her.
As an example, he pointed to David and Victoria Beckham. The couple attended Harry and Meghan's 2018 royal wedding, symbolizing what appeared to be a strong friendship and shared place among the world's elite. However, Burrell noted that the once close relationship reportedly did not endure, reinforcing his personal assessment. Stories later emerged of a serious disagreement, with reports claiming David Beckham was deeply upset after allegations that Victoria had leaked private stories to the press, claims that have been publicly discussed but remain disputed. Burrell said the reported split didn't surprise him at all. Instead, he suggested it fit the same pattern he believed he had witnessed before. He went even further, asking whether more people were beginning to feel they had simply been useful at one stage of Meghan's journey. Then he raised an even bigger question. What happened to so many of the famous friendships that once surrounded the Sussexes? The Beckhams, the Obamas, the Clooneys? Many of those relationships no longer appear as publicly close as they once did. When someone like Paul Burrell, a man who spent years serving Princess Diana and observing royal life from remarkably close quarters, makes such a strong claim, opinions naturally become divided. Some see his comments as the lingering loyalty of Diana's former butler. Others believe he's identifying a pattern based on years of watching how royal relationships are built and broken. Either way, his choice of words ensured the conversation was impossible to ignore. But did William really have any doubts about Meghan even before the royal wedding? What were his concerns? Stay with us. William's doubts started much earlier. Now, this is where things get interesting. A lot of people believe the problems between Prince William and Meghan Markle only began after Prince Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal life. But according to several royal commentators, the real story may have started much earlier, long before the wedding bells rang at St. George's Chapel. Reports suggest William had already developed serious doubts about Meghan, and those concerns would eventually become one of the biggest sources of tension inside the royal family. According to royal biographer Phil Dampier, William's worries weren't based on one single moment or dramatic argument. Instead, they reportedly grew as he watched Harry's relationship move forward at remarkable speed. Dampier claims William began to question whether Meghan truly understood what life inside the monarchy demanded. More importantly, he allegedly feared that she viewed marrying into the royal family as an opportunity to build a larger public profile, rather than embracing a lifetime devoted to duty, tradition, and public service. Those reported concerns did not stay private for long. As Harry's relationship became more serious, William is said to have shared his reservations with his younger brother. But instead of bringing the brothers closer together, the conversations reportedly pushed them further apart. According to Dampier, this disagreement became one of the very first cracks in what had once been one of the strongest relationships in the royal family. Two brothers who had stood shoulder to shoulder through years of triumph and heartbreak suddenly found themselves seeing the future in completely different ways. Adding another layer to the story are comments attributed to Lady Elizabeth Anson, the late cousin and trusted confidant of Queen Elizabeth II. According to reports, Anson believed the Queen herself eventually became increasingly uneasy about Meghan. She allegedly claimed the late monarch grew frustrated by disagreements over royal traditions and wedding arrangements before Harry and Meghan married in 2018. One reported remark even described Meghan as nothing but trouble, although these claims have never been confirmed by Buckingham Palace or members of the royal family. Royal broadcaster Esther Kraku paints an even more complicated picture. She argues that Queen Elizabeth did not begin with doubts at all. Instead, the late monarch reportedly welcomed Meghan with warmth, seeing her as intelligent, confident, and someone who could bring fresh energy to the institution. But according to Kraku, that early optimism slowly faded as repeated disagreements over royal customs, expectations, and cultural differences created growing tension behind palace walls. The reported tensions extended beyond Harry and Meghan's relationship with the Queen, reportedly straining ties with Prince William and Catherine as well, although senior royals have never confirmed these accounts. Royal biographers and commentators argue William's concerns grew over time, believing Meghan's priorities increasingly conflicted with the monarchy's expectations, contributing to a lasting division within the royal family. Now, if Diana had lived, would Harry have married Meghan in the first place? Could Harry have lived a more organized life? Keep watching. Burrell's shocking Diana theory explained. So, here's where the story takes an even more surprising turn, as Paul Burrell's book began making headlines. He made one claim that instantly grabbed people's attention. According to him, if Princess Diana had still been alive, Prince Harry would never have married Meghan Markle. It was a bold statement, one that immediately sparked debate among royal watchers around the world. But Burrell wasn't saying this because he believed Diana would have disliked Meghan or refused to accept her into the family. In fact, his argument went much deeper than that. His point was that Harry himself would have grown into a completely different man if his mother had lived. The Harry Meghan eventually met, Burrell argued, was shaped by a lifetime of loss, pain, and unanswered questions that began the moment Diana died. Think about it for a moment. Harry was only 12 years old when he lost his mother in such a tragic and public way. Burrell believes that heartbreak never truly left him. Instead, it quietly followed him into adulthood, influencing many of the biggest decisions he would later make. The anger, the frustration with royal life, his decision to step away from the monarchy, the explosive interviews, the Netflix documentaries, and even the deeply personal memoir Spare. Burrell believes all of these were connected, in one way or another, to a wound that never completely healed. From Burrell's perspective, Diana's presence could have changed everything. He believes Harry might have followed a far more traditional path, marrying someone from Britain's aristocratic circles, settling comfortably into royal life, and carrying out his public duties without the battles that later became so visible. If that had happened, Burrell suggests, Harry and Meghan may never have even met. Their lives would simply have taken different directions. Now, whether that idea is true is something nobody can ever prove. History doesn't give us second chances, but the thought itself is difficult to ignore. It raises a fascinating question about how much one heartbreaking moment can shape an entire lifetime. Was the Harry who stood beside Meghan at Windsor Castle in 2018 still carrying years of unresolved grief? Was he searching for something he had been missing ever since childhood? Paul Burrell offered an emotional reflection by imagining how life might have unfolded if Princess Diana had survived. He believed she may have chosen to live near Prince Harry and Meghan in California, offering love, guidance, and unwavering support to her son and grandchildren. However, Burrell also raised a question that has sparked widespread discussion. He wondered whether Meghan would have embraced Diana's advice and influence, or preferred to make her own decisions. Although entirely speculative, his comments reignited long-standing public debate about how Diana's presence might have shaped the Sussexes' lives and family relationships. So, what did the ex-bodyguard report to be the scene that opened the first crack? What exactly transpired? Stay glued. The dinner that changed everything. So, here's where things may have started to go wrong. And according to former royal butler Paul Burrell, it wasn't a dramatic argument, a heated exchange, or even the famous disagreement over bridesmaid dresses. He believes the first real crack in the relationship between Meghan Markle and Princess Catherine appeared much earlier, during what should have been an ordinary family dinner. At first, that might sound surprising. After all, how could a simple evening meal create the tension that would later grow into one of the biggest royal family feuds in recent history? But Burrell suggests it wasn't the dinner itself that mattered. It was what Meghan saw that evening, and what it quietly revealed about life inside the monarchy. At the time, Prince Harry and Meghan had just begun their life together at Nottingham Cottage, a charming but relatively small two-bedroom home tucked away within the grounds of Kensington Palace. Although rich in royal history, the cottage was far from luxurious. The ceilings were low, the rooms were compact, and the house felt more cozy than grand. It suited Harry well, but it wasn't exactly the picture many people imagine when they think of royal living. Just a short walk away, however, Prince William and Princess Catherine were living in apartment 1A, a much larger residence that had recently undergone an extensive renovation. The home featured soaring ceilings, elegant reception rooms, and even its own ballroom. It reflected William's position as the future king and Catherine's role beside him. According to Burrell, Harry and Meghan were invited there for dinner one evening. As Meghan stepped inside, she reportedly took in the impressive scale of the home, the spacious halls, the grand design, and the unmistakable sense of importance attached to it. Burrell later wrote, "This may be where the trouble began." He never directly accuses Meghan of jealousy or resentment. Instead, he leaves readers to draw their own conclusions. His suggestion is far more subtle. Meghan may have arrived expecting one version of royal life, only to discover that even within the walls of the same palace, there was a visible pecking order. The difference between the two homes wasn't simply about comfort or decoration. It was a constant reminder that William was the heir to the throne, while Harry remained the spare. And perhaps that's what makes this story so fascinating. Family divisions don't always begin with shouting matches or public confrontations. Sometimes they begin in complete silence, with a glance around a room, an unspoken comparison, or the quiet realization that someone else's place in the family will always come first. According to Burrell, that single dinner may have revealed far more than anyone realized at the time. Does William seem to have a soft part of his heart prepared for Harry and Meghan's reconciliation? What does William Tenure have for Harry and Meghan? Stay tuned. William's door to Harry remains closed. Alright, so here's where the story takes an even more heartbreaking turn. According to Paul Burrell, this isn't just another royal disagreement that will eventually fade away. In his view, the relationship between Prince William and Prince Harry has reached a point where there may simply be no way back. Burrell believes that because he witnessed their lives from the very beginning. He understands the depth of what has happened. He watched William grow up within the walls of the royal palaces during one of the most painful periods in the family's history. He saw a young boy trying to cope as his parents' marriage fell apart in full public view. He watched William carry responsibilities that would have overwhelmed many adults, slowly transforming from a quiet, grieving child into the future king. Now, as William prepares for the enormous responsibility of one day becoming monarch, Burrell says his approach to Harry has completely changed. According to Burrell, William has drawn a firm line that he has no intention of crossing. He has claimed that William is determined to protect Catherine, Princess of Wales, and their 3 children from any further family drama. As Burrell famously put it, the door of Adelaide Cottage is shut, and there is no way in. But Burrell insists this isn't simply about the interviews, the Netflix documentary, or Harry's explosive memoir. Those public moments may have deepened the divide, but he believes the real damage goes much deeper. In his opinion, the foundation of trust between the brothers has been shattered, and once trust disappears, rebuilding the relationship becomes almost impossible. Burrell has even suggested that William no longer sees reconciliation as something worth pursuing. According to him, the Prince of Wales believes Harry can no longer be trusted, and his priority is protecting his own family from any more emotional turmoil. That, Burrell argues, matters more than repairing old wounds. When reports surfaced about a brief meeting between Harry and King Charles in 2025, many royal watchers wondered if it might be the first step toward healing the family's divisions. Burrell, however, was far less optimistic. In his eyes, the meeting that truly matters is not between Harry and his father. It's between Harry and William.
And he's very uncomfortable with the way everything is turning out.
And he believes that meeting may never happen. What makes Burrell's comments so striking is his unique perspective. He isn't speaking as a commentator looking in from the outside. He once cared for both princes, watched them mourn the same mother, and witnessed their bond during happier days. That is why his conclusion carries such emotional weight. He believes this is no longer a temporary family feud, but a painful chapter that, at least in William's mind, has already been closed for good. But what did Diana's ex-bodyguard say about Harry's exit from royal duties? What verdict would Diana have given? Let's find out. The boy who vanished and the verdict Diana would have given. So, here's what makes Paul Burrell's comments about Prince Harry so striking. They don't come across as the words of someone driven by bitterness or hatred. Instead, they sound like the thoughts of a man who believes he has watched someone he cared about slowly become a completely different person. More than anything, Burrell speaks with sadness. He says he still remembers the cheerful, funny, and warm-hearted young prince who could brighten a room with his sense of humor. And now, he keeps asking the same painful question. What happened to that happy, joking boy everyone once knew? According to Burrell, the Harry he sees today is almost impossible to recognize. He believes the prince has become consumed by feelings of resentment, frustration, and conflict, behaving in ways that Princess Diana would never have expected. In Burrell's view, Harry now approaches many situations believing he has been treated unfairly, with nearly every disagreement becoming part of a larger story in which he sees himself as the one who has suffered the most. What makes this even more heartbreaking, Burrell says, is that both Harry and Prince William experienced the very same tragedy. They both lost their mother at a young age. They both faced enormous public pressure while growing up. Yet, despite sharing the same painful childhood, Burrell believes the brothers ended up taking completely different paths. While William, in his opinion, accepted his responsibilities and stayed focused, Harry seemed to drift further away from both his family and the institution he was born into. Burrell has also defended himself against critics who accuse him of exposing private royal matters. He argues that he stayed quiet for many years and only decided to speak after Harry himself publicly discussed family disputes through television interviews, court cases, documentaries, and his memoir. From Burrell's perspective, he is not revealing secrets, but simply sharing his own experiences after decades of silence. Perhaps the saddest part of Burrell's reflections is what he believes Princess Diana would think if she were alive today. He says Diana always dreamed that Harry would stand beside William as his greatest source of strength, helping him shoulder the enormous responsibilities of becoming king. Instead, Burrell sees two brothers separated by distance, hurt, and mistrust. He even imagines Diana flying to California to comfort Harry herself, although he wonders whether that relationship would have been as simple as many people assume. Now, in his late 60s, Burrell says he no longer feels the need to hold back, believing his years of loyal service to Diana give him a perspective few others can offer. Whether people agree with him or not, his remarks continue to spark debate because of his unusually close connection to the late princess. So, what do you think about Burrell's claims on Meghan? Could Harry's estranged behavior and exit be avoided if Diana were present? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.